Hello and welcome to It's an Artful Life. I'm your host, Jillian Rhodes. This project started with a question: do the arts matter anymore? I decided to start asking people that very question and came up with this project, an experiment on how and if people see and experience the arts in their daily lives. Is it an artful life? Let's find out. I know that man is capable of great deeds, but if he isn't capable of great emotion, well, he leaves me cold. This is a quote from La Peste by Albert Camus and touches on the importance of expression and feeling. The book itself is a deep existential look at a plague, but today the conversation dances over this idea in relation to the arts. Could the lack of arts, or at least the lack of an ability to express one's thoughts and feelings, actually make us sick? This is one of the topics today's interview covers, as well as the differences in producing and receiving arts and its place in culture. Can you briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Céline. I'm from France and I came to live in Korea in 2009, so it's going to be 8 years this year. I worked in London briefly and then I'm working here in a travel agency. I like to read and travel and cook.
And cook.
Bake cookies.
So do you participate in the arts at all?
In a very passive way. Of course it depends on your definition of art, but then thinking of the word artist, it's quite wide. So what I would do or be implicated the most would be probably music, because I learned when I was a child. So organ first, and then about 10 years of keyboard and a tiny little bit of piano. But then these days I mostly listen. I haven't played in a while, mostly because I don't have a keyboard here.
I see. Do you consider yourself an artistic person?
Not in the way that I could make or create arts, because I don't think I have enough, say, imagination. Or well, I'm always amazed at people who make music or dance or ballet, or even writing books, because it seems to come out of nowhere. And I don't think I could do that, but I enjoy going to a show and watch something, or so listening to music. Or I don't go to museums that often, but I like to just receive more than I create. Let's say.
I see. Okay, so what drives you to the arts? So if you listen to music or go to a show, kind of what interests you? Or like what's your kind of motivation for doing that?
Shows, it's, I think, mostly when I want to take a break or get out of, the daily work routine. It's a good way to maybe escape a little bit. And music, I listen to music every day. I listen a little bit of everything, but depending on my mood, I can listen to classical or just pop, or a bit sad or more energetic, upbeat things. Yeah, and exhibitions or like paintings, these things. I'm not too much into abstract, but I would be more interested in, I think, classical stuff. What if something's in town? If I see a poster or something that, this looks nice, I go.
Yeah.
I'm more of a visual person, say, for all these things. If it catches my eye, I'm tempted to go. And music, it's more the melody. I don't really listen to lyrics at first, but mostly because when I first listened to American pop, I wasn't that good at English, so I couldn't understand what they were saying. So I listened to melody first, and then Korean is the same. I don't really understand what they say when I first hear it. Yeah. So if it sounds nice, I'll just listen to whatever.
Yeah.
And get interested in the words later. So it's just time when I don't have to think or just worry about things to do or deadlines.
Yeah. Do you have a particularly memorable experience of the arts?
Phantom of the Opera, I still think it was one memorable experience because it's one of the first pieces I remember hearing, and that was on TV, and I didn't know what it was at first. But then I went to London and I saw they were playing it because they've been playing it for close to 30 years now, I think. I thought, if there's one I have to see, it's going to be that one. And I went eventually, and I think it's one of my favorite. I couldn't say why, but I like in that one, I think, the mix between pop and opera, mostly because I kind of wanted to be an opera singer when I was really young. And that had nothing to do with the music, it's just the way they were singing. And, you know, opera singers, the voice is it doesn't come out like the way you speak.
Oh.
And I thought it was really fascinating, although I couldn't understand anything.
Oh.
But just the way they used the voice, I thought I want to do that.
Oh.
I didn't, but that's okay. I still like to hear it.
So seeing Phantom of the Opera for the first time, or hearing the music was kind of stood out to you?
The first piece was the music, and it's the Phantom of the Opera piece when the girl goes really high.
Yeah.
It goes, wow. How can you do that?
Right.
And that piece of music stuck. And then when I heard it again years later, I said, oh, that was the thing. That's the one I wanted to see.
Do you think that you experience the arts on a daily basis, you know?
I think yes, and mostly unconsciously.
Okay.
Because you have, say, literal art, but say art gallery or something, or you hear music on the street from the shops or whatever. And I told you last time about that small gallery I walk past every day. And it's still there, but they're renewing something, so there's nothing. There hasn't been anything for a few days.
Okay.
But I guess that would be a literal way of experiencing, like just seeing something that's obviously artistic, and then there's, you know, things painted on the walls, or there's a daycare center not far from where I live, and the kids have decorated bottles and then they use them for flowers and stuff. You could say it's art too. So there's plenty of things if you stop to look or think about. That's artistic.
Oh.
So I guess even if you don't think of it as art, when you pass by or hear or see it, thinking back, it is some form of art, I think.
Yeah. So do you think if all of that stuff wasn't there, would you miss it? Even if you don't necessarily experience it consciously?
Having seen or heard it for a long time, if it disappeared, I would notice, for sure. I guess I would miss it too. Now, if I'd never heard music or never seen anything, I don't know if you could say that you miss it, but I think if there were no colors or nothing pretty, you would think there's something a bit boring about all this.
Yeah. Well, that's basically the the next question, which is the thought experiment side of things, and that's the what does a world without art look like, for you or in general?
Very square, like a square. Black and white and a bit bland. And I told you last time about a musical I saw that was called Pest.
I think you mentioned it.
That was about in the future where that music and all form of art have disappeared or have been vanished or something.
Yeah, what's it called again? It's based on a book, right?
It's based on a book, but it's not a literal interpretation of that book. It's called Pest.
Oh.
And Pest, it's from a French novel. And Pest is a disease.
Right. Did you say it was by Sartre?
No, it was Albert Camus.
Oh, right.
And, well, the book is about the pest, the disease. And then they've, translated it into a world future where... So there is no art anymore, and how was it? And the main character is a doctor who's looking for a cure to kind of revive people because they're dying slowly. They don't know what from. And then on the side, there's someone who discovers a guitar again. That's in the museum, but they don't know how to play it. They don't know what it's for, and. Yeah, they are two people who are a bit dreamers, you could call them, and they're curious, so they want to try, and they figure out, make sounds, and pretty sounds. So it's a parallel story about finding the cure for people's disease and music coming back. I'm not sure I understood everything because it was in Korean and in songs or dialogue that sometimes too fast, but that was the main idea. It was a nice way of translating the story, which I haven't read because it's a bit gloomy.
Yeah.
But that was maybe an example. If there was no art in the world, people might get sick.
Interesting. People might get sick.
But not know what from.
The lack of music sickness.
Yeah, maybe they will probably all get depressed, but don't know why.
Yeah, interesting. I was just off in that world. I was just kind of picturing it.
Yeah, so the costumes were all white, uniforms, and it's very straight lines, and no break of flashy colors, and quite what do you call it? Do you know the word sterile in French?
Yeah. It's the same word in English. It's
how do you pronounce it?
Sterile?
Okay.
Sterile?
Well, with no
right.
external input or anything. It's
Yeah.
very clean and a bit boring.
Well, yeah. I haven't heard that idea before, that the lack of arts might actually make us sick, It's just an interesting thought.
Because I think it helps. Well, whoever... You often say of painters that they're a bit... what do you say in English?
Crazy?
They're not crazy, but distraught.
Yeah.
Souls.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Disturbed.
Then, and it's a way for those people to out everything they feel.
Yeah.
And then people who see it or hear it or whatnot help soothe you. If it's pretty or beautiful, you can look at it for hours and just somehow it calms you. And if there is nothing like that to help you to release your stress or whatever, I think you'd get sick.
And so, do you think it would be the same, we would have that same sickness if there was still, music around us, but we couldn't really experiences at art? Like we could hear the sounds, but it didn't give us any reaction. Do you think it would be kind of the same thing?
Well, if you can hear the sound but you don't know what it is, I guess either you might reject it or just be curious and want to hear some more. Then if you're forbidden to hear, it's a different thing.
Yeah.
And then you might get sick too. Maybe like a bit like a drug that you can't take.
Interesting.
But it's hard to imagine.
Of course, yeah.
Because once you heard or saw something, you can't unsee or unhear it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's not easy to picture. Like, so I'm looking at the stuff on my walls and being like,
imagine they're not there.
Imagine it's not there. Or imagine it was there, but I couldn't, like, see it or appreciate it. Then I probably wouldn't have put it up in the first place. But anyway, moving on. What do you think it means to live an artful life?
I forgot that question. Well, I'd say anything that's not like typing. You know, if you type something, it's either from a typing machine or a computer. It's very well. Even that, you have different police and fonts. So if you choose a pretty one, or even not a pretty one, but a different one, you could think of it as not necessarily art, but a bit. If you do anything of those things, like the same again, a bit unconsciously, I guess you could say you live an artful life, not to the same degree as someone who maybe works in arts or does that all day long, but I still think I'm more of a receiver of artsy things, but even listening or seeing it might mean that you're involved in it somehow, because people who make music or paintings, they make them for someone, and they make them for themselves too, but they make them to be heard and seen. So if I see or hear it, I guess it's being part of it and being a bit active, right? Passive active.
I mean, do you think that you live an artful life?
Yes. But not 100%. Not compared to you, not on the same level, for example.
Yeah, but I mean, as you said, you know, it's hard to compare that, you know, because obviously, like, arts professionals are going to be in it a little deeper. Yeah. But I think it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, someone who receives the arts doesn't live an artful life. Just a different kind of artful.
Different kind, yeah, that's a good word. And then even the way you, say, organize your house, choose colors, choose shapes, and they're unique to you.
Right.
So different levels of art. I'm participating a tiny bit.
Yeah. Well, as you say, you know, stuff needs to be heard, music needs to be heard, paintings need to be seen. You know. Do you have any final thoughts or comments to add?
Just like I said last time, if you look up or pay attention, you can see art. Not everywhere, but in more places than unexpected.
Okay. So in that case, then I just have to ask one follow-up question, which is, do you think it's worth it to look up?
Oh yeah. See, now that you've lived in Korea for over a year, you get sucked into that crazy rhythm, right? Yeah. And then, work, house, and sometimes try to do something, a little trip somewhere or just a day out of the city. And then you realize, it's good to get out. Yeah. You have to make the effort to say, I need to not work today and maybe do something to relax on. So days like that, you go see somewhere, you go in the park and just sit there and look up. So I think it's worth it. You need it. Especially in countries like Korea, where people have gotten used to just work, and then Koreans are kind of a good example. At least the older generation,
Yeah.
they haven't been used to enjoy themselves. At least not the men, because they work and earn money for the family. And when the women are stressed too, they have this aspect of the culture where the women sacrifice a bit of their life for the children so they can have a good education and later a good job. But then on the way they forget to take care of themselves a bit. So in that sense, Koreans are a good example of people who have forgotten a bit, not necessarily by choice, how to have fun or enjoy or do something that doesn't necessarily have a purpose. So yeah, they are slowly rediscovering the joys of having a day off. And the younger people, they can't keep that rhythm anymore, mostly because they've been sheltered a lot as children, and yeah, working 7 days a week doesn't work for them. So yeah, slowly I think they're learning again to do something for themselves. I think you need it.
Yeah, and I guess in some ways that, the doing something for yourself often looks like arts or involves the arts in some ways.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I like that last little culture note. But thank you.
You're welcome.
It's an Artful Life will return next week with another interview. Thanks for listening.